Hi everyone, this is Sunette, here in this video to continue expanding on and explaining the definition of what's best for all. So an interesting case study I would like to share here is an individual who is in a relationship or agreement with her partner, and the two of them have been together for quite some time, walking a process together within this relationship and agreement to assist and support each other through their mind processes, thought awareness, emotional awareness, self-awareness, general life awareness, the process of reaching their utmost potential, strengthening their strengths and strengthening their weaknesses. And it's been quite exceptional, the process the two of them have been walking together, more so because the two of them are so completely different. I would dare say, the two of them do embody the statement opposites attract. Not that, that is an absolute, but they're opposite in the sense that individual A is a lot more introverted, shy, having a tendency to process a lot of their internal things that they go through more within themselves, alone by themselves, whereas individual B is the more extroverted, expressive, loud, embodying everything that they go through within themselves physically. So two completely different ways of essentially, processing themselves, their minds, their lives, things that they go through. Also in general behavior, very much individual A, introvert, individual B, extrovert. So, within this way of also processing and dealing with things inside of themselves, what has been interesting to observe is that individual A, because of being more introverted, more personal throughout their lives, it has created a certain depth within them, a way of being able to, when they're going through things inside themselves, to look into it a lot deeper, a lot more specifically, being able to change a lot faster in many ways. Really for themselves, taking that personal time, to look into things, look deeper into things. Individual B, though, in some contexts, would take a lot longer, because they more easily and readily really become, certain thought patterns or emotional patterns or behavioral patterns on a physical level. They tend to take more time to really process through it, because they more sense it and experience these things on a conscious physical dimension. It's been challenging for them to go deeper, to take the time to slow down, really look into things, open it up. And also, both of them have had the tendency of miscommunication, because individual A might, want to share something in a certain way and go deeper, but individual B wants to still talk it out, be in it and rant and rave and express it and say what needs to be said. But individual A is like, no, let's just go to the correction. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's find a solution. So within this process and this dynamic, individual A many times, asked, okay, I've been walking this process with my partner, and obviously in many ways roles are also reversed, where individual A goes into patterns that they physically embody, and individual B is the one that wants to go in a bit deeper. So these two have been playing ping pong in so many different ways, becoming one another in different contexts. So kind of almost like body swapping or mind swapping. But in this process, both of them, to some extent or degree, have asked the question, and both of them have asked the question in different times, both thinking that they're the only ones experiencing this. They were asking, in terms of best for all, what does it really mean to walk this process, to be an example, walk the process and be an example, meaning that for some time, they feel like they're walking alone, and they don't know if they should just then focus on strengthening their own strengths and strengthening their own weaknesses until the other one kind of catches up or catches on or starts walking with or starts changing. How long must I wait? What does walking together, really in fact mean? And what does best for all mean within the context of such a relationship? Where sometimes it will happen in relationships that the one will be in a phase within their process where they move quite fast in the sense of being able to stop thought participation, reactions, change behaviors, start redefining and living words more, really getting into that lock-in zone of living their utmost potential, but the other partner is still kind of in that process of living out their mind, living out patterns, really going into them and experiencing them, and maybe not immediately changing, but over time, slowly but surely here and there, start changing. Other times the roles reverse again. So here what I explained to both of them is that what we always have to understand, even within relationships, is that at any given time, even though we may be walking a process together as equals, the process itself that you're walking in, the pace, the speed, the way, and the method will not be equal. So this also brings in the understanding of equality. Sometimes we think equality means everything is absolutely exactly the same, as in equality. But here within this process, it's to understand what unites us within the equality principle in a relationship, for example, is both equally walking and knowing the principle within themselves is there to realize and live their utmost potential, realize and live the best and better of themselves that they can see and can express in moments within everyday life and life in general. So that's the foundation of equality for both. But the process to that utmost potential is different and will be unique and will be individual, because our minds are different, our beingnesses are different, the history of our lives are completely different. So therefore, what I've found even in my own personal journey, and here not only in partnership relationships, but in all my relationships with everyone who I've met, is that it's been fascinating in how, for me, sometimes it felt like I was walking completely alone, even though I had many people walking with me because of a certain stage or phase in my process that I was connected to or connected with. But in that time, I realized as much as I'm feeling like I'm walking alone, I will, in time to come, be joined by everyone else who will be in the same or similar phase or stage of process. And then based on what I have walked, I'll be ready to assist and support them. So in other words, sometimes in a relationship, if you feel like, you're moving differently than your partner, always maintain, firstly, in a relationship, it's about yourselves and then each other. So in other words, I informed them to, always keep that within yourself, that you have to keep at your own pace, your own experiences, your own space and processing based on what's going on within yourself and your life. Because with you focusing on that, and then your partner, observe your partner, spend time with him, communicate. The best thing that will also ensure that both are more aligned within how you're walking processes in yourselves and your lives and assisting and supporting each other is if you communicate, is if you share, if you open up. We sometimes so take for granted communication where we don't necessarily realize how little we actually share with each other. Because everything has always for so long gone on inside our heads, we very seldom really share, really open up, really communicate like, hey, this is what's going on in me. And this is what I'm experiencing. And this is how I'm dealing with it. But hey, I need some help here. And in that communication, sharing and opening everyone, if there is one thing that assisted and supported with a alignment of equality and a walking with and a walking together with individuals, it's been communication, sharing, opening up, so that, even though you may be more ahead in your process or walking it differently, whatever you're walking, your partner may be benefiting from later in their process. And the roles might be reversed later. You never know. It's also happened where initially there's one individual in a relationship was walking process for like many years, partner started walking with, and they started catching up almost within a year. So there's some extraordinary things that can happen in a relationship and in individuals' processes. Never compare. Always walk for you. And within that, you're equally walking for your partner. That's the principle of what's best for all is best for self. What's best for self is best for all. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this interview video assists and supports with understanding a bit more of the principle of what's best for all and also equality within that. And always standing by and being true to your process, your self-honesty, your utmost potential. Because in that, you're not only assisting and supporting yourself, you're assisting and supporting so many others in time to come. Thank you very much.